Hey, what's going on, guys?
Overtime. So all of our community members who are on Patreon, you know that sound, you know that intro, because that is only the intro that you see when you're with us on Overtime. So I'm really glad that you guys got to see that. It always energizes me and Winston.
Get down again. No, guys, definitely excited. So a lot of you guys last week had an opportunity to see the interview that we did with Champ, and as a bonus, we'd share with you for the first time the actual overtime interview with Champ. We got a lot of people really excited about that. So Janelle and I decided that we really wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a look at what it's like to be one of our Patreon community members and some more insight into some of the overtime episodes that we've done. So
happy almost Turkey Day, Michael.
What's going on, Michael? What's going on, brother? All right, so we picked out a few that we've had that we thought would be add some value to you guys today, and we just want to share some of that with you. So our first one.
All right, let's see. There we go.
Our next guest.
Hey,
what's up, guys? How are you?
He's back. Well, as you recall, when we were on the YouTube session, the question was, what has been a failure that you have had as you've come up, whether it's Close Talk or Johnny's Immigrants Angels, or any other business that we haven't yet talked about. But what is a failure that you feel like you have learned the most from?
I mean, I have hit failures. I still do daily. I've hit a ton of them. So there's a lot of options to think about. Probably the biggest failure, if I had to think of which big one hits me first, it's probably, guys, doing things that just are not my strengths and learning from my 20s. Yeah, and I learned right away I'm a crappy CEO and I'm a crappy manager of people, and I'm not very organized in terms of like guiding the team and telling them what to do and then coming back around. I am much more of like a builder and like, let's all do this and then everybody go, but somebody has to operate, right? Somebody has to remember what all the tasks are and make the whole thing come together like an orchestra. So it's very typical, I think, that founders in general and co-founders are kind of vision people. They see the vision and they'll scrap and they'll work 7 days a week and they'll do everything they can to open doors to push us closer to the vision. But somebody has to operate the pieces. And I learned over time that I'm really crappy at it, that the CEO part or the operations part, I should say. More less the CEO, more the COO part. Operations, keeping things in line, keeping things organized, and somebody has to do that on the team. And so in the beginning, I was doing it, and I was also not only bad at it, but I was very unhappy. And usually the things that we're bad at aren't fun, right? Like nobody likes doing things that you're really bad at. And so I learned through experience, I'm messing that up, that this doesn't feel right, and I'm hurting the organization. And I'm hurting really us helping more people with cancer because I'm slowing us down. Hire someone to do it. The second we hired someone to run operations and be a COO, and I could just do what I love, which is being in the field, which was talking about the organization, doing speeches for us, meeting with doctors, making connections with hospitals to get more referrals. The people side of it, out in the field, the external piece, to me, the vision, growing the vision is what I love the most. To get people fired up about it and get them on the team. But then somebody has to manage the team. And so that's probably the biggest failure I can think of, is learning that those are weak points of mine, and I'm happier and better off, and the team's better off when I'm focused on the external, get out of the way of the people in the office, have somebody run it who knows what they're doing and is more organized than I am.
God, that is good.
I know. So
You know-
good. I have a That was so good.
Absolutely. I love having Johnny on. It was so great hearing him give insight into that, what that looks like.
It's so funny because I remember we were there and thinking like it was so good the first time we heard it, but then hearing it again, for me personally, I see myself as like a founder, as like a CEO, and like it just really spoke to me to recognize where you're good at, and then get some other people to join your team who are good at the other things. So I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So we have next.
All right. Let's bring this one up. Ready?
Talk more about the accountability aspect that you've acquired along the way.
I feel like accountability is the magic sauce. Like if you love cooking, you're also talking about food. Most people are going to cook with salt. You got to have spice. The accountability and building community is the aspect of getting it done. If you're not sure, if you stay in your head and you sit at home alone, you may or may not create. But when you lean in and step in with somebody else and say, you know what? We're going to do this thing. We're going to do this talk show. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to do it by this date. I'm going to do yoga classes. Like anything and everything that I've ever created that was amazing or groundbreaking, I told community I was going to do it. So
Nice.
even with manifestation, right? You're writing things down. You're at a job. You work for somebody you want to raise. That magic of writing it down and saying, you know what, I'm going to get a $5,000 raise and a $10,000 bonus. I'm just throwing numbers out there. When I used to do that, when I was in corporate America, even back when I was a salaried, an hourly person and there were no bonuses, something would magically happen that year and we would get 1 week bonus for the hourly employees. And so you make stuff happen when you just create it. You say it to the universe, say it to your friends, say it to your family. With COVID, I've been saying it to Instagram. I do these Tuesday teas and I talk to the people or on a talk show and saying like, I wrote this book and I haven't published it because I had so many people telling me things like, oh, I wrote this book. And I said, well, where is it? Where can I get it? It's like, oh, no, it's been home. Well, when did you write it? 15 years ago. No, sir. No, sir.
No,
We are not playing those games,
no,
sir.
ma'am. No.
We are not doing that because you're pulling things out of your soul. Like I even had picked a quote for y'all that I thought was so appropriate. It's a Gabrielle Roth quote. It says, if you want to give birth to your true self, you're going to have to dig down deep into that body of yours and let your soul howl. And when you write and when you want to make something happen, that's what it is. You know, when you're cooking, you have to reach in the pot and you have to stir. There's all this alchemy, there's all this science. And it's like, so if we mix it up, if I tell Winston, if I tell Janelle, if I tell, somebody that I'm going to do this, that energy connects and collides and there's magic, there's sparks. So there's something for me. And I've seen that with my clients, whereas as a coach, you can do fine, right? You can go to the gym and do well on your own, but when you hire a personal trainer or a coach, they give you that little push. So when you say something to somebody, and if I say like, well, I'm going to publish this on March 8th, I'm going to run into you on the street, Winston, and you're going to be like, hey, how's that book coming?
Yeah.
Are you, so it's that little push, even if you put it on the back burner, life got busy, life happened. Maybe you didn't pick it up. You haven't done anything with it. The date is coming, like there's a deliverable, there's a due date. You're giving birth. And in giving birth, there's a doula, there's a midwife, there's a doctor, there's somebody that helps you give birth. And I think that's what it is in accountability. You tell somebody, okay, I'm gonna do this, then they're invested in your success. Rooting for you. They're gonna see you, they wanna see you succeed. And it's like, oh, Janelle's gonna write a book, Janelle's gonna publish a book. Yeah, like, I'm down for that. Like my friend, even if you just get bragging rights, my friend Janelle wrote a book.
Right.
My daughter, my cousin, it's we all win because you won. So we're invested in your success. So that's what accountability is for me.
Wow. You're muted, Jay. Oh.
Love that one. We've had so many people come on and talk about accountability, but I love the way Dion described it. That was one of my favorite descriptions of accountability and how we can hold each other accountable.
And I love that she actually talked about Janelle's, and Janelle, in fact, has written a book. So I love that she put that energy out there. That was definitely very, very cool. All right. So we got 2 more guys, and these next ones are definitely going to bless you guys. Again, if it's your first time, we're sharing with you guys some insights into what our Patreon community members get in overtime, some of the bonus and access we have to some of our guests. Go check out in the description box below so you can decide which level in our community you want to come in. There's a ton of value there. Let me share with you guys the next one. Bing. Oh, Darren.
Answer the question about the reason why I'm answering the question this way is because you asked me if there was any shade, but I'm not. If there's shade, then I'm focused on where it's coming from, and that's an outside thing trying to get inside. But I'm thinking inside out, because I'm focused on what I'm focused on, and I understand that there are 4 voices. So there's your voice, the thoughts and things that you're thinking about, others' voices, family members, parents, social media, television. Which let me pause real quick on television because. The most incriminating things hide in plain sight because television, like I asked my mom a couple months ago, Mom, because she's always watching TV. I'm like, Mom, do you know what television stands for? She goes, no. Well, they ain't hiding. Tell-a-vision program. Like they're not hiding. They're telling a vision and programming you the way they want you to think. Especially the baby boomers and beyond, they trust that. But we know not to. But where our generation trusts is social media, not realizing that you put your cell phone or your email in, and they will sell that information to the highest bidder, whatever they're doing. Anyway, there's a trust that and understanding what you need to guard yourself from because it really molds who you are, what you're doing. So, your voice, others' voices, the enemy's voice, and God's voice. And so, what I have learned to do is. When I made one of my biggest transitions in my life, really, it was 2017, but then really going into 2018 that I started to, I decided to consider the world, consider the word, which is the word of God, the Bible, and then consider my ways. And here's why. I hit this rank, made all this money, and I still wasn't happy. So I needed to I was like, okay, well, that's not it. Not that doesn't work, but that's not it. So I considered the world, and that's the life that I was living in. And when I considered the world, here's what I found out about it. And this is why I don't let shade or what other people think bother me. Do I hear it? Yes. Can it affect me? Sometimes. But really, my principles and understanding does not allow it to affect me because I have a thought process on it from my voice and God's voice, which is when I considered the world isn't all you can eat buffet. The only problem with it is every time I ate of the world, I never felt well and I was always still hungry. I mean, I can turn on my phone, I can turn on the news, I can go on any platform I want. And it's like, when you pick up your phone and go on Instagram with a purpose and 20 minutes later, you're in a click hole looking at cats. Like, how did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, what happened? That's because they are really good at getting us to focus our mind on something we don't want. And we learn addiction to distraction is the death of your creative productivity. Their purpose is to distract you with certain increments. You don't think there's a reason why Telegram, Instagram stories, it's a program. You know what I mean? Someone said to me, is like I asked someone, like, okay, a movie is about 2 hours running time, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Well, if they want you to watch something longer, I'm like, would you watch something that was 14 hours straight? And obviously you'd be like, no. Well, what they did now is then they just created, YouTube series, not YouTube series, sorry, Netflix series and Disney Plus or whatever, and they'll make something that's really 14 hours. They'll cut it into 14 episodes and someone will take a whole Sunday and binge watch. They just found another way to get someone to do something to watch what they want. So when I started to be the thermostat and not the thermometer, when I started to, and what I mean by that is not allow what's outside is going on. When I walk into my house, let's say you walk into your home right now and it's freezing cold. You're like, whoa, it's cold. Some people would freak out. I'm like, yo, it's freezing. Like, what's going on right now? Instead of just walking to the thermostat and being like, let me just turn the heat. Or it's really, really hot. Like, what's going on? Or like, and allow that in their life, whatever it is, to overwhelm them, and then not just go to the thermostat and just be like, well, let me just turn the air on. So when I decided to not lead my life with building network marketing, I knew that there would be things said. First of all, I've seen people leave companies, this and the third. I haven't left the company I'm in. I'm just not out in the front as vocal as I used to be. That's all. But still, because I was such a voice and such a image in that sense, people have a certain type of thought process, I'm sure, but I never allowed myself to get off the field of what I'm doing to allow what someone else thinks to affect that, because I understand that that's others' voice. It's others' voice. And sometimes I listen to others' voice, but mostly I'm listening to mine and God's.
Fire.
Another good one, right? All the four voices. I know we joked earlier, like there may be a fifth. But how important is that to recognize that, you can't listen to other people's voices.
Yeah. All right. This last one is definitely one I know that we've been looking forward to. Janelle and I have definitely been blessed to have a lot of amazing guests beyond the show. And this next one is somebody that we've excitedly partnered with in terms of taking our platform to the next level, live streaming to different, venues and location. Hollywood is someone that we've partnered with. We started live streaming our episodes there as well. And so we had the CEO of Hollywood on with us. And so here's a little bit of the overtime with Sean.
I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but every year, University of Pennsylvania contacts me to do
the alumni
event, right? And they're usually on campus, or they've always been on campus, outside, indoors, different venues. But during the pandemic, they had to stop all of that. But they still wanted to have alumni weekend. So in May and this was a month before we started building Hollywood, a month, literally. So it was May 2020, and they wanted me to do a virtual party. And they have been planning this, I guess, only 2 months, right? Because really I was contracted to perform in person at Penn for alumni weekend, and they had to cancel it and table it and say, you know what, we'll do that in 2021. 2021 comes along, it's the same thing. They pushed that to 2022. So honestly, earlier this year in May was the first time that they had an alumni weekend, and it was it was like all 3 years of people coming together. But my point is that I experienced in doing this, and everybody in 2020 was like, Twitch. Like, what is Twitch, and why are you doing it on Twitch?
Oh,
and
yes.
Because at the time I could DJ live on Twitch and they wouldn't shut it down. If you got on Facebook or Instagram, they will shut you down. What Twitch did was allow it under a copyright exception, which
with the music,
allow it to go live. But if you have something in that live stream that is copyrighted, then they will start to limit the amount of rebroadcast or on demand that will happen. But live, they didn't do anything. So I was able to create an experience on Twitch that involved, me and an audio interface, so that the sound coming out was like high definition. It wasn't like, a mic in front of my speakers picking up the sound. Like, people were actually able to put Twitch, put it on in their surround sound systems in their home and really have a dance party at home, and it became this thing where, I'm telling people, go get your favorite drink. We're going to toast. And one of the really interesting features that really kind of prompted me into developing like a similar feature in Hollywood is that, I thought, well, it's cool when people can just send chats, or send messages in the chat room. Hey DJ, can you play this? Or shout me out. And I'm trying to keep up with the chat, and I'm playing music. I'm looking at this feed and this. Oh, can you play this? I'm like, oh, I'm typing. And then I thought it was crazy. I was doing so many things. But what I did that was really cool is I would flash this toll-free or this number on the screen. And I said, look, take a selfie, send some photos, just text whatever you want to this number. And what would happen is I would bring up a live feed. And as people text pictures in, or as some of these people were just texting pictures from back in the day. So I actually developed a sort of a slideshow of over 1,000 images that people sent in over the course of the night. And so, of course, some people were taking selfies just to memorialize the moment, right? But then there were people like, oh, remember this back in the dorm and when we did this, that, and the other? And I'm seeing pictures, and it really, really made it such a cool interactive experience. But what that showed me is that if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna perform live like that now, and give people a way to a virtual experience, it needs to be two-way. It can't just be them watching you, and it has to go beyond me just commenting.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man. So that one, guys, is definitely something that we're excited about. We're actually going to be at an event this Friday with Sean, the CEO, another again amazing partner of the show. And so we want you guys to all come out, and here's a little taste of what's going on this Friday. You're muted,
Who's in New York? Who's in New York? This is the event. You definitely want to be here for this on Friday.
Gotta make that call. Tell them get the bottle poppin' when they play my song. Band. Got my 3 best friends like we do it all the time. We gon' do it again. I think y'all are ready to dance. Baby, all I want is to let it go. Ain't no worries, no, we can dance all night. Give me body, let me control.
That video gets me so hype.
You gotta be in the building, man. You gotta be in the building. Oh man. So yeah, guys, this Friday, 40/40 Club. If you are in New York City, definitely come out after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. We're gonna post up some information on our page, I think later tomorrow, about that, or even later today about the event.
Excited to see any of our Patreon members there. Anybody who's ever watched us on YouTube. Honestly, we would love to see you there on Friday in the middle of the mix. We'd love to introduce you to Sean, the CEO of Hollywood. So that way you can start to meet some of our guests in person. That'd be really cool. And we're really, really looking forward to that event.
All right. So thank you again, guys. Again, if you want to join up with our Patreon community member and see tons of other episodes, guys, every season we got everything still, some bloopers, never before seen things that we ever put up on YouTube. Definitely join our community on Patreon. And as we take you guys, don't forget to be back, guys, next week. We got a special guest coming in for that one.
Yes, that's going to be
and
cool. As always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that.